Good afternoon. My name is Doug Lyons. I am the Superintendent of the Wakefield Public Schools. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon and to recognize and thank the Wakefield Education Foundation and to kick off the celebration of learning for 2020-2021. This has been a year like no other, and the Wakefield Education Foundation continues to be such a reliable partner for us. They have worked tirelessly to support teaching and learning in the Wakefield Public Schools, even in light of the pandemic and all of the changes and challenges that have been presented. I think the Wakefield Education Foundation has not been set back in the least. I think that they have adapted well and came to us early in the year and asked, what do teachers need and what do students need, and how can we best support the Wakefield Public Schools? Back in September, they made a block grant to help us with technology that has made a tremendous difference with remote technology in the classroom for teachers, for wireless access for students, and for devices for students who have needed to learn remotely as well. Again, we are eternally thankful for all of the volunteers that are part of WEF, and to Elizabeth Russell and for all of her work. So thank you very much and have a great celebration of learning.
Hi everyone, my name is Shannon Blacker. I'm the principal coordinator here at the Doyle School in Wakefield. I think the creativity amongst our staff, it's shown that preschool teachers can adapt to anything. The way they have set up their classrooms in order to provide the instruction that we wanted to keep for our students at this level. And also, I would say another silver lining is I've had paraprofessionals who have stepped up in leadership roles this year to become teachers of the classrooms, and that was one thing that really blossomed and allowed our paraprofessionals to be able to feel supported, take the lead, and heard. I would say for our students, for 3 to 5-year-olds, wearing the masks every day has not been a problem. Not much has changed here at the Doyle. We have been here full-fledged from the beginning, 5 days a week, so we have been all in. So a lot of our systems have stayed the same and our communication has stayed the same with parents. Special thanks for our reopening group here at the Doyle. So it consisted of myself, teachers, and paraprofessionals. So it was a joint effort. It was a real team effort here. We had perspectives from every avenue. So WEF, in my years here, is more and more involved with the Doyle. We've been able to participate in the grants that we submit applications for, and they've been granted to us here to help us with our curriculum. Specifically, they've bought materials to support our play-based centers for math and literacy, and they've included us now in the yearly calendar fundraisers and all of that as well. So this makes us feel a little more part of the community, which has been fantastic. I just want to thank WEF and everybody that has helped supported the Doyle School. It's a great organization, and I just want to thank you, all the nurses this year, and all of our faculty and staff. So thank you.
Hi, I'm TJ Liberti, the principal of the Dole Bear Elementary School. I think one of the things I'm most proud of our community, of our school community, is our collaborative nature and the work that we do with our teachers and our staff as a whole in making decisions, and more importantly, in this case, reopening schools safely. At the school-based level, we had reopening teams that were made up of representatives from our paraprofessional personnel, our teachers, administrative specialists. So really getting the insights and input from everybody. And so we had a collaborative and collective kind of look about how we were going to reopen schools safely for students. Resilience is such an important word to use. I mean, right now, we're sitting here wearing masks, right, socially distancing, and our students adapted so amazingly by coming in wearing masks, following the rules from day one. In a normal school year, there's not a day that goes by we don't have a parent coming in to read to a class or to participate in some type of activity. And with the restrictions that we had of not allowing people in due to COVID and social distancing protocols, we really had to find different ways to engage. So for the school-based level, a lot of our teachers, Zoomed parents in for guest readers. I actually did that for my son at Woodville. My wife, who's a fourth grade teacher at Walton, did the same, and it was a great experience because even though we weren't physically there, it found us a way to connect. This is, I believe, my 17th year on Wakefield, and I've been so impressed with the Wakefield Education Foundation and how steadfast they are in supporting education in the Wakefield public school system. From an administrator, they have been integral in providing grants to our staff that allow us to integrate technologies such as Storia, which is an online reading database that provides students with a wide variety of texts that they can access digitally in the classroom and out of the classroom. WEF has also helped with programming that we've had in here. So I would say that WEF has really been not only an integral partner, but an essential partner in the development of our students, development of our district, in the education overall. I want to thank the Wakefield Education Foundation for your continued support of education in the Wakefield public school system. I'd also like to thank our students, staff, and families for your continued support, your resilience, your flexibility and patience as we progress through this non-traditional school year. Thank you. We hope you have a great year.
I'm Brian Schmidt. I'm principal at Walton Elementary School in Wakefield, and very excited to be able to speak a little bit about WEF. I have kind of a unique perspective on all this because I started as a principal at Walton this year. So my first job as a principal was to gather a team of staff and stakeholders and try to work on a reentry plan. As we put together a hybrid model to start the year that got kids in school 4 days a week. We really wanted to prioritize consistency and routines because we know that, especially for young children, that's how they learn best. There have been so many new situations this year and so many unpredictable changes, and students have just done such a great job of adapting and doing the best that they've been able to do. And I've been really, really impressed and proud of them. And I think one thing that hit me really hard as I started to reach out to people is how committed our staff are here and how much they really care about Walton and just are enthusiastic and feel positively about this community. So I think there's really, really a great commitment to this school. One really great piece that we have here at Walton is our outdoor classroom, and I know WEF has been a contributor to some of the pieces of that classroom. We have some gardens, some furniture, and places where students can do classwork, some places where teachers can present and kind of teach a real lesson outside in the fresh air. So that has been huge, to be able to get out there more often, do some science lessons related to earth science and gardening. To be able to make that happen this year with the help of WEF has been awesome. A few pieces of equipment or technology equipment that were donated to our school this year by WEF were really helpful. We had some cameras, some wide view cameras that we've been able to use, and also some screens the teachers have been able to use as they work with students remotely, so that they can have their lesson plans up on their computer, but then a large screen to the side where they can see all of their students and interact with their students. Lastly, thank you so much to WEF this year for all of your support. Thank you also to all of our staff and students and families who have done a absolutely fantastic job navigating this very unusual school year. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Matt Carter. I'm principal of the Woodville Elementary School, home of the Woodville Bears. Roar! I think this year, unlike any other, we've had to be resilient across the board. That's students, that's faculty, it's families. We've really had to, be resilient and kind of fight through this together. We've really kind of embraced, that we're in it together community feel here at Woodville. And I couldn't be more proud of, like I said before, our students, our faculty and our families for getting through this, and hopefully coming out on the other side better. I think we've actually become closer this year. I know I've heard from several faculty members that they feel like they know the students very, very well this year, on a much more personal level. We've had to communicate more with families than ever before, and make sure that they're really in the loop and know what's happening. In my opinion, you know, our faculty would feel like they've become even closer to students, which for us is a big win. So WEF has been great. They've been able to provide a lot of support. I know in the past they've been able to fund some field trips, they've been able to fund some initiatives, they've been able to fund some technological aspects in our school. So our partnership with WEF is wonderful, and we really can't thank them enough for being able to give us the means to teach students well. I know that over this past year, our asking for physical items has been less from them, but we're really hopeful, you know, that we'll continue this partnership and they'll continue providing our students with the tools and our faculty with the tools that provide the best educational experience possible. I would like to thank WEF for their continued support. A lot of what happens in our school and other schools throughout this district would not be possible without them. I know our faculty and staff is grateful for all of your support along the way. So on behalf of myself and the faculty and staff here at Woodville, we thank you.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Back, and I'm the principal of the Greenwood Elementary School. I feel like one of the things that's been really important over this past year is a chance to really live the sense of the importance of community and connection with each other. But this year we really had to live it in a way that we hadn't had to before, and I think we will come through it stronger for the future years. We knew we weren't going to be able to do things the way we were used to doing, definitely not business as usual. So people who've been teaching a long time, students who've been used to school being a certain way, we had to change everything that we were doing. So one of the things that was really interesting about our hybrid model earlier in the year, that we were in for most of the year, was that we would have half the students here at one time in the morning and the other half in the afternoon. And teachers found that it was a really great opportunity to have more significant one-on-one time with students in a way that was harder to do when we had all of the children here at once. One of the things that I thought was really cool that different teachers did was that they would have their morning cohorts leave messages or jokes or problems for their afternoon cohorts to solve and read, and the afternoon cohorts would do the same, so that the kids were really connecting with each other even though they weren't in the same space, so that when we all came back together, they all had a sense of community already. A couple of years ago, we actually got a WEF grant for mindfulness in the classroom, and we were able to have an instructor come in, do some professional development for faculty, and work with students about ways to practice mindfulness. And I feel like that's something that was really important in this whole situation where we were there was a lot of change happening, a lot going on, and just reminding people to slow down, check in with themselves, touch base, and having that opportunity to do the mindfulness work actually played into what we were able to do this year. I think the most important thing about WEF, besides all of the funding that they're able to provide, is just the messaging that they do to the community, and just messaging out about the importance of education, the importance that the community has in being a part of this, and championing the cause of public education. That's huge. That gives us a starting point for when we go to do something, we already know we have them behind us, backing us, and really speaking positively about the work we do.
My name is Mr. Colatoni. I'm the principal here at the Galileo Middle School. When I think back to August and September, when each of the schools in Wakefield were given the task to reopen, we had put out a communication to our staff being part of a reopening team, and within a matter of hours we had many responses of people who wanted to help. Over the summer, we spent hours as a group on Zoom thinking about how to best reopen our schools, particularly here at the Galileo for our students and staff. And just the challenge of working through all those conversations, of not truly knowing what we were going to be facing. And we couldn't have done this work without that team. And as an entire staff, we just have really relied on each other this year to navigate really uncharted waters. So when I think of our students and staff here at the Galvin, even in our hybrid model, come in to the school building, adjusting to wearing masks, adjusting to a whole new way of life at school, it's really been inspiring to me to see the level of commitment to doing the right thing, taking care of one another. When I think of resilience, I think of remote learning for all of our students, whether we have our remote families or our hybrid families. Learning on Zoom has been a whole new world for all of us. When I think of resilience, I think of our staff having to learn on the fly, all new technology tools, and never giving up and doing the best they can to support our students and demonstrating themselves as lifelong learners. Ever since I've been an educator in Wakefield, WEF has been a tremendous supporter of all our schools, and we are so appreciative of their partnership. So not just this year, but when I think of years past, they're constantly looking for innovative and creative ways to support the learning experiences here at the Galvin. And so when I think about all the different experiences they brought into the Galvin over the last several years, it's ranged from guest speakers, from novels that students have read, the Museum of Science traveling field trips. We had an incubation project where one of our teachers literally hatched eggs in the classroom over the course of several months. That was really neat for the students. One of the bigger grants we received was for our robot in the Learning Commons, Cosmos, who's an important member of our school community, where the students get to learn how to code and program. And really the list goes on and on. WEF has been a tremendous supporter of the Galvin and the learning experiences for our students and staff. I'd like to start by just thanking our entire community of Wakefield for working together this year during these unprecedented times to really rally together and work together and just do a remarkable job navigating such a challenging school year. To the students of the Galvin, I want to credit you for your perseverance, your resiliency, and your positive spirit this year, and the way you've inspired us as the adults to make the most out of a challenging year. To the staff of the Galvin, I want to echo the same words. You have led the way, you have met the challenge, you've provided our students with a remarkable level of engagement, connections, and relationships this year, and we are forever grateful for all your efforts. To WEF, thank you for your ongoing commitment to the Wakefield Public Schools. Even in a year we could not do things the more typical way, you have been relentless in your pursuit of supporting all of our schools. I am happy to be part of this year's celebration of learning and sharing what's happening here at the Galileo School. Thank you.
I don't have a problem with Gary, except that they listen to Gary a lot more than they listen to me.
Hi, my name is Amy McLeod. I'm the principal at Wakefield Memorial High School. I think we've realized how important human connection is in teaching. And that's kind of interesting, right? As we become remote and more reliant on technology this year, I think that students, I remember when we came back to school, when did we come back? Maybe the third week of September, we came in for the first time as cohorted groups, and so many students came up to me and said, you know, in the hallways or when I'd stop in classrooms, I didn't realize how much I would miss my teachers. I didn't realize how much I would miss school. And I really think that a silver lining is we've been able to understand how important those connections are. And I also think it speaks to your first question is another thing that's come out of this is we've realized that even when we're remote and we're not in a room together, we still have to find ways to connect. So we have to use technology, or we have to use different ways to interact, because that human connection is incredibly important, and that interpersonal connection for teaching and learning is huge. I feel like even asking you about reopening feels like it was years ago, right? It's, what month are we in? We're in April. We reopened in September, and that feels like it was eons ago. And I think that there were a couple key things that came into play. Number one, I think we all needed to trust one another. I mean, I remember being out on the field and talking to you all those first days, kind of saying, like, asking you to trust us, right? And we talked about that sort of commitment that we were making to each other in the community. I don't know if you remember that, but I was kind of saying, like, we have protocols in place and we're trusting you that you're all going to follow them, just like you are trusting us that we're going to keep you safe. And I think that was true for teachers. I think that was true for students. I think it was true for families. communication has become more important than ever before. So I feel like everything that we did this year, we had to have a communication strategy. How are we going to let students know? How are we going to let teachers know? How are we going to let families know? I also think the administrative team, the assistant principals, Mrs. Traficante, Mr. Mullaney, their job descriptions have kind of changed greatly this year. Mine too. I mean, we have been measuring furniture in classrooms and figuring out how to sort of arrange the cafeteria and figuring out how do we shift cohorts and what do we do with the hallways. None of that stuff we learned in sort of administration school, so it's been an interesting year. I'd like to thank WEF for all of their support this year at the high school and for helping us make this year successful. Your guidance and support of educational programming and educational tools has been outstanding, and we couldn't have had a successful year without you. So thank you.
My name is Elizabeth Russell, and I have the honor of representing the Wakefield Educational Foundation and have served as WEF's president for the past 6 years. The Wakefield Educational Foundation was founded in 1989 by a group of Wakefield residents. They were dedicated to providing a vehicle for the Wakefield community to support and enhance excellence in the educational experience offered to all students in the Wakefield Public Schools. This is WEF's 32nd year supporting Wakefield Public Schools. Since 1989, WEF has awarded over $400,000 in grants to support special programs and enhance the curriculum in the Wakefield Public Schools. This past year, our grant application process looked a bit different. We provided a one-time $25,000 grant to the district to purchase technology that would enhance the remote teaching and learning experience. In 1996, 7 years after WEF was founded, the inaugural Celebration of Learning first took place. The Celebration of Learning was the inspiration of the late Dr. Christine Bridges. Christine, who was a former school committee member and chairperson, and a very active and involved citizen of Wakefield, described this evening as an avenue for recognizing exemplary faculty, volunteers, and students. Truly a celebration of the things that make our schools great. Continue to honor Chris's memory at this event for her insight and guidance in helping to create the celebration of learning. This year, we reimagined our celebration of learning highlights the exemplary work of our teachers, administrators, and students during an unusual, unprecedented, and very challenging year. This is a big shout out and a thank you to all of our teachers and students for their resilience, their creativity, and their persistence during this past year. Despite a tough year, there have been silver linings, and we commend our teachers and principals for all that they have done. We hope this video showcases the commitment of our staff and numerous collective positives that have taken place this year. It hasn't been easy, but our school community is strong, resilient, and determined. We would like to give a special thanks to all the generous local businesses that have sponsored Celebration of Learning and many other events that WEF hosts throughout the year. We would also like to thank the Cummings Foundation for their generous support of WEF and WPS over the past 6 years. This virtual edition of the Celebration of Learning was made possible by the collaborative efforts of the WEF team and Wakefield Public Schools. WEF would like to thank Superintendent Doug Lyons, all of our principals, along with the coordination and video support by Diana Ho, Julia Sperano, and senior and video extraordinaire Aiden Bright. Thank you for watching.